What's going on, everybody? Canuck here, and here's the long-awaited episode 5 of Course Design 101 for PGA Tour 2K23. I sincerely apologize for the very long delay between episode 4 and episode 5. I basically went on a complete hiatus from this game, but I am starting to get back into the design a bit now. I've got the itch again a little bit, and I look at these design tutorials that are unfinished, and I'm like, I got to finish these. So we're going to get started here today with a rather large topic. We're going to look at bunkers today. And, bunkers are a big part of it. Almost any golf courses. Some golf courses don't have any, but most golf courses have some bunkers. And bunkers are treated in, or can be designed in a very vast amount of ways. Is that the word I was looking for? Anyway, lots of people make them in lots of different ways. That's what I'm trying to say. Admittedly, I'm not the best bunker designer in the world, but I do get by, and I want to show you guys today 3 different ways of how I like to create bunkers in the game. And then we're going to look at how to sculpt bunkers. So that's what I'm going to look at. So here is our old tutorial course that I had to go back and look at my videos and say, what exactly did we cover so long ago? But yeah, bunkers seem to be the next logical step for us. So I'm just kind of looking at this little opening hole here that we made a very long time ago and kind of planning it out here. I'm looking, just for simplicity's sake, maybe we'll look at adding one bunker here, just kind of a fairway bunker. And then we'll look at maybe adding a smaller bunker kind of up by the green. Okay. You can put bunkers in fairways. It's a little bit tricky on kind of how to do it without getting this ugly little layer. That is something I may cover in another video, but again, this is just kind of the basics, so we're going to cover the basics for bunkering. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways in how to create a bunker. And we've been talking about splines and shapes when we were talking about fairways. Now with bunkers, I actually prefer to use the brush tool or the shape tool as opposed to the spline tool. Just because you were going to see here, the brush tool gives you a little bit more control in creating, some finer detail with what your bunkers look like. Splines are better for maybe more large flowing bunkers, maybe with not a lot of little like indents or things like that. But I like my bunkers to be a little bit more on the interesting side with lots of kind of little, like I said, like little indents and things like that. So I do prefer using the brush tool. So kind of the easiest way to do, and what I would recommend the first thing you should do is around a place where you think you want to put a bunker, is just give it a little flatten. Okay, it's a good place to start. Just give it a little flatten. Doesn't have to be totally flat, but there you go. You get the idea. Okay, and if I just kind of want to free form it here, probably the quickest way to do it is I like to use the shapes. So I'm going to go into my brush tool here. And a couple of my favorite shapes that I like to use is I really like to use this one here. And my ultimate favorite is this guy right here. Okay, and what I kind of do is I chain these shapes together and I change around their orientation, their scale, things like that. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to select this shape. Okay, and if I press up and down on the D-pad, I can make the shapes bigger and smaller. I can't remember if I covered this in other videos, so apologies. I really should have looked over that a little bit more. Now, if I want to change the scale, I can turn the advanced edit on, and left and right will scale it in the X direction, or the X plane, and up and down will scale it in the Z plane. Okay, so you can kind of make it however big or small, fat and thin that you want. And once you're kind of satisfied with it, you can turn the advanced edit off, and then you can scale the whole shape up and down. Okay, so if I want to do a shape, I can just, lay something down there, and essentially I have a bunker, right? But, I want to avoid kind of like a sameness with my bunkers. If I made every bunker look exactly like that, that's going to look a little dull to the golfer after a while. So what I do like to do is I like to chain these together. And again, sometimes I change the advanced editing, sometimes I don't. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of create, this is just a real free form shape here, so I don't really have any idea what this looks like, but what I do is I kind of try to create I try to avoid sharp edges like, or sorry, straight edges like this. I like a lot of curves in my bunker. I like my bunkers curvy. All right. There we go. Sometimes it takes a little bit of or trial and error to get it where you want. Sometimes I reset my shape if I want. You know, and you can make these, again, like I said, as big or small as you want. Let's go with something like that. Okay? So that is one way how to lay down a bunker. Okay? Now, another way, if you want a little bit more finer control, or maybe you have an idea of what you want your bunker shape to look like, then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the measurement tool, and I'm going to actually give myself kind of a tracing of maybe what I want my bunker to look like. I don't really have a plan for this, but just to, for example's sake, maybe on this side, maybe I want a bunker to kind of look like this. Sure, something like that. Okay, so what I can do there to get a little bit of a better, really kind of hone in on the detail is I'm going to go in and I'm going to select a brush again, and I'm going to select the little round brush. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the round brush very, very small, and I'm going to kind of go along the edge. See, if you make it too small, it actually won't click. So you got to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. And you can actually click and drag this with the A button or X button, whatever you're using. Okay. And you can kind of just trace around your shape. Now, again, I've seen people do this different ways. Again, just for kind of time's sake, I'm not being super accurate with this, but just kind of giving you an idea. And then for the finer points, you can just line up the edge of the circle and just kind of try to get it as close as you can. In the end, this will take some practice. Trace all the way down. Just kind of use the edge of the circle to add a little bit more if you need. Again, I'm just kind of holding it down. Letting kind of the edge of the circle do that work here for us. As we're just tracing it around. Okay, and as you can see, I've kind of missed a few spots, so I just use my edge of my circle. Okay. There we go, something like that. And then I'm just going to fill in the middle with the rest of the brush here. There we go. All right, so that is another way of doing a bunker. Again, if I want to get rid of these measurement tools, we'll just clear those out of the way. Okay. Now this, this way, kind of, you got to be really careful because it can create some janky edges, which you kind of want to stay away from as best you can. You want to make your bunkers kind of as smooth as possible, which is why I like just those shapes that I showed you earlier, because those make some really nice shapes. Or you can do a real simple one. And I guess maybe I should have showed you this one first, but kind of the one I do the least. Okay, and it's just using the splines like we did with just like laying down a fairway. It works the exact same way. Oh, this is, again, you can't put in really the level of detail, but if you want, just some maybe smaller, that's actually a fairly large bunker. Let's make a little bit smaller bunker than that. That's what I also find. I really struggle getting the scaling down when I use the spline tool over the brush tool. But again, there are some designers that are very good with this tool. Something like that. Again, that's a little bit big, but you get the gist. Okay, so you can do it that way. But for the sense of this tutorial, I'm just going to actually do it the original way that I did, because I kind of want this hole to be done at the end. So I'm just going to really quickly throw in another bunker here. Something like that. There we go. Okay. So those are ways of laying down bunkers. So now we're going to talk about sculpting. Again, bunkers can have very little sculpting to them. Bunkers can have flat bottoms. I'm going to show you the way I always learned how to sculpt bunkers, but some people prefer doing other ways. But again, it's really up to you. Now, if you notice when you lay down a bunker, it kind of does a lot of the sculpting within the bunker for you. So you actually don't have to do a lot of in-bunker sculpting, other than just kind of getting rid of the humps and bumps. Actually, the most of the sculpting you do with the bunker happens outside of it, not inside of it. So I'll show you what I mean here. So I do always like to start with the inside. And again, raise or flatten tool work. I prefer the raise tool in this situation. And I know I'm not putting it down very much, maybe like 4 inches. And I'm just kind of going down in most spots, just holding down the button. Just maybe doing a little once around, making sure I hit every spot. Kind of like that. Okay, I don't really go any deeper than that. But most of my sculpting kind of happens above ground here. Or sorry, outside the bunker, not above ground. And this is a little bit more of a dramatic effect. Maybe a foot, 2 feet, really depends. Okay, and this kind of gives you a little bit more, a little bit of a steeper bunker as well. And it really defines those edges, which I like. Again, be patient with this. I'm again doing a bit of a quicker job than I normally would do, but... And that gives you a little bit of a better lip. And again, you can make you can see my brush is very small in this situation. It's not very big. Okay. It's not great. It's not great, but I get the idea. Okay, we can clean that up a little bit later. Let's go look at the fairway bunkers. The fairway bunkers, I make a little bit shallower than my greenside bunkers. But again, same kind of thing. Just a really small flatten. 2-3 inches at most. Well, not at most. Maybe more like 5-6. This one is... And again, the flatter you make it, kind of the better. And also, you kind of want to look at sight lines. So I'm going to look at this. You know, I see that that's kind of a little bit flat. So what I want to do is I want to actually bring part of this bunker up. So again, 3-4 feet. And I'm always going back and forth between where I'm at and my tee shot, just so I can get an idea. So see how that brings that bunker up a little bit. And then I might even kind of bring that down, just so the golfer can see the whole bunker off the tee. Not necessarily something you have to do, but something I kind of like. And again, we can do it with this guy too. Bunker doesn't look as good. I go fix this one, but... Okay, and then it's going to go around. This one I made a little bit too deep. That's those janky edges are bothering me. Let's actually fix those right now. I'll show you how I fix them. If I have janky edges like this, I'll kind of fix them with this rounder tool here. Or the circular tool that we were using earlier. There we go. That kind of a little bit better. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to kind of just finish it up here, going around the lip. There we go. Boy, I'm definitely rusty with these tools. It's been a while. So sometimes I will even just kind of go along just the front part of the bunker. I won't go around the whole thing all the time. But again, designers have very different ways of doing their bunkers. I would say that this one's maybe a little bit on the over sculpted side. I'm gonna hit the undo button a little bit and bring those down a little bit. And we'll do the same over here. Again, this definitely is a bit of a quicker job, but it gives you an idea of how to put down decent bunkers. And again, just play with the sculpting tool. Again, you will get, that's how you get better at it, is just by playing and experimenting and seeing, changing the size of the brush, changing the height of the brush, what that all does. Okay, so just keep practicing with that. All right, so we kind of have 3 bunkers down, and I think I'm going to end the video here. So please let me know what you think. If you guys have any more questions, I can try to answer those in the comments, or if there's anything you want me to cover in any future videos. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting. It's glad to be back, and I'll see you on the next episode.